and welcome to another episode of Contemporary Living, where we provide lifestyle solutions for everyday people. Like I said last year, I'm going to say it again this year. We are the platform for champions. So, like my boy DJ Khaled said, or Khalid, however you pronounce it, you either win with us or you watch us win. But I am so glad that you decided to close out this last Sunday of the month. Yep, it's the last Sunday of the month by joining us live. I mean, it really does mean a lot to us. The information age is just filled with people vying for your attention. They want you to buy, they want you to watch, they want you to see. And every time we move to something else, it's a dopamine hit, so we get addicted to it. So I mean, this is the world that we live in now. And we're just so happy that you are being intentional today by watching this show. So thank you for that. And as always, before we get started, there's always housekeeping notes before we kick off the show. So you can always catch an episode of Contemporary Living on the replay. Make sure you put hashtag replay at E360 TV. You can watch us on Facebook. You can watch us on YouTube. And make sure you comment hashtag on the replay for a chance to win a bag of our coffee, our Farm Hill medium roast coffee. Or you can hit us up directly at info@contemporaryliving.live.com. That's info@contemporaryliving.live.com. We want to make our platform your platform. And another thing that's happened, we've got a great show tonight, but we've been experiencing some delays. But we've managed to, work through the kinks. So if we have to work through some kinks tonight, we want you to work them out with us, because we have a great topic tonight. But before I get into our guest tonight, let's talk about our Contemporary Living's mover and shaker of the week. So we want to send a shout out to our last guest, hospice nurse Lynn Felder. Did you catch that show last week? Did you catch the show last week? It was hospice nurse Lynn Felder. So we learned about, hospice care and just the incredible way that Lynn interacted and connected with the patients and their families. It was really moving. So she also shared with us about her future goals and wanting to provide homes in the community for people with disabilities, because she has a son with disabilities. So she's very familiar with the things that you have to go through. But if you didn't catch our show 2 weeks ago, make sure you check it out. So I want to send this shout out to Lynn and all the frontline. So we know about the frontline people, during COVID, the military, the police, the nurses, the things like that. But working in hospice care, that's kind of like end of life care. So they're not I guess they would be the front lines, but they're the last line defense workers. So we just want to send a shout out to them. And then, something that I was reminded about, and I want to remind you, talking with Lynn, make sure you have your affairs in order, you guys. I mean, your wills, your life insurance. I mean, it really told us, even long-term care, that might be something, you never know. You never know. But make sure you are getting your financial house in order and making sure your family is taken care of. I got a long list to connect, so you can reach me at 312-880-8614 if you need any type of assistance in that area. Your will, your finances, your insurance, things of that nature. 312-880-8614. So I can get you some support that you need, because that is really serious, and I want you to think about that. Now, let's hop into tonight. Take a sip. Tonight, we are talking about community. Tonight, we're talking about the value of public service. Tonight, we're talking about healing. All right? So, Latina Brady Pettis, and I want to truly say that she's a gem in the community, because she is a lifelong Chicago resident. Yes, lifelong. And she's running for the 8th District Council to influence change. Her mission is to bridge the gap between police and the communities to help create new initiatives and policies. Latina is committed to restorative justice. She seeks to proactively engage the community and police in healing practices to build stronger communities. And that's what we need, especially now. We all know what's going on. We're going to talk about it too. And so, what that does when you build stronger community, she's going to allow both entities to speak and use their voices as platforms for change. So that is a great thing that she's doing. So Latina has really proven herself as a public servant. She's been a member of various organizations, including, now this is a long list, I got to take a look at this: the League of Women Voters of Chicago, National Women Veterans United, the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, the National Council of Negro Women, and president of the National Association of University Women. Whew. Thank you. That she got a heart of gold with all of that going on. I belong to one organization, and just even in my support of that, I find that challenging. So this woman has a heart of gold. But wait a minute. In addition to that, she also organizes community activities in Chicago. So those community activities are really centered around homelessness prevention, financial support, voter registration, blood drives, women's domestic violence issues, and providing shelter assistance during the pandemic. See, told you. Latina has a bachelor's degree from DePaul University, a master's degree from Purdue Global University, and has her certification of diversity and inclusion from Cornell University. She is a recipient of the President of the United States Volunteer Service Award for her community service and recognized as the Woman of the Year for the North Central section at the National Association of University Women. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the candidate for the 8th District Council, Miss Latina Brady Pettis.
Hi, good evening.
Hi. So we're having a few complications, but we can't see you and we definitely can hear you.
Okay.
So glad. Girl, you got a pedigree.
Thank you so much.
I mean, just so many volunteer organizations. You've done so much to help the community. I know, I know you wasn't born like that. Did you just come out the womb saying, I'm ready to go to work?
That's a good question. I have to ask my mom about that. I don't know, but I actually had a good role model that actually led the way for me to lead this journey right now.
Man, isn't it good having role models? Good role models.
Absolutely.
You definitely need good role models. So a lifelong resident of Chicago, when did the bug for public service catch you? But before we get to that, let's talk about a little bit about your past. So what you from, lifelong resident of Chicago, you got to be from the South Side.
Absolutely, the South Side.
South Side's in the house. South Side's in the house. South Side of Chicago. So tell us a little bit, like, what high school did you go to? And let's just start from there.
So I went to St. Mark de Porres. When I was in St. Mark de Porres, I had this niche. I had wanted to be the next FloJo. Somebody was like, oh, I just wanted to run. That's something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to run. But life changes. Life took me for a curve, and I am a product of a teenage mom. So I had to put my running life on hold because I decided to become a mom, and not just become a mom, follow it all the way through. Just because I was a teenager, I didn't understand about being a mom, but I knew that I had to be a mom to my son at that particular moment. So therefore, my life was on hold. I waited to make sure my son, my sons, not just one, I have more than one son, and make sure that I put them on the right path. And the reason why I decided to put them on the right path, because I know and everyone know that people put a target on your life when you feel like you made a mistake. In society, you made a mistake on being pregnant being a teenage mom. So instead of me putting that much anger in me and not wanting to fulfill anything, I made sure that my sons had everything. So when people threw bricks and stones at me and was targeting me, saying you weren't going to be anything, I set a foundation for my sons. So every brick that everybody thought they was throwing at me, I was building up for a future for my sons. So when people put water on me, that water that, you bring something out, all I did was run it out and put it towards my sons. So my sons probably could tell you that I was hard on them. I didn't allow them to do a lot of stuff, but I think I tried to set a structure to let them know that I didn't want you to be that statistic that they put on me. So that's part of my life.
That is amazing. That is really amazing. And the reason why is because I can't even imagine what it means to be a teenage mom and everything that was thrown on you. But I think the beauty of that is whatever they threw at you, you poured into your children.
Absolutely.
That is incredible, because not all teenage moms turn out that way. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. That's a blessing.
Well, one thing I would say that don't cancel people out because of today. You never know what tomorrow is going to bring. So our youth needs someone, as you just like I said, as a good role model. Don't turn them away because they made a mistake. We all made mistakes, but we just need somebody to help us to correct that mistake.
Absolutely. We definitely, that's so funny. I mean, not funny, but it's true in that we all make mistakes. We all could use a little grace, and I mean, I'm just with you 100%. But now, how did that teenage mom, how did that motherhood lead to like volunteerism and public service? And don't forget, you got a couple of degrees under your belt and a couple of certifications. So how did that all lead to that? Because guess what, as a teenage mom and everything you had to do, that's tiring.
Absolutely.
Parenting is a tough job.
It is. I want to talk about this role model that I spoke about.
Mm-hmm.
He went by the name of Lee Portrait, but a lot of people know him as Big Man in our area. The first community service act I saw was this man always made time to clean up the community. He made his sons do it, not the daughter, but he made his sons do it. But the daughter saw what was going on. So that was my first act of community service. Mm-hmm. Next thing I saw was the fact that when you get older, you start to hear stories. You hear stories about different things. So the Portrait, as people, this Big Man, guess what? He fought for civil rights. He fought for you and I to have our rights. So listen to his stories and listen to him, how he communicated in the community. Not only that, he fed people, he clothed them, he gave them money. So all the things you mentioned about me, it started with this person that I'm speaking of. And that person I'm speaking of is my dad.
Oh, that is wonderful.
So this is where it came in. So when you said it was birth, maybe it was birthed in me. I just didn't know it at the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is wonderful. So now you're on the track. I mean, we know you've done like volunteerism, but this is big because you're running for is it office? So tell us a little bit about the position you're running for and what it does. Janina Bailey, hello. I'm just talking. I don't know if you see the hearts that are coming, the love that she's showing. Hey, we want to give her some love back.
Thank you, Janina.
So tell us a little bit about the position that you're running for and what are the responsibilities, because that's a big leap to say. To volunteer is one thing, but now you're like, I want to change policies. I want to bring communities together. And I want to do it from a seat of, for lack of a better word, from a seat of power and position, because that's really what it is. So tell us about that.
So Chicago has always been getting a negative rap about things and violence that's going on in the city of Chicago. So guess what? Chicago is making history now. The 8th District Council, well, not the 8th District Council, but the District Council as a whole This is the first time in the United States of America that people get the right to tell how the police are policing our communities. So this is the first time ever in the United States of America. If anyone who you live in if you live in the city of Chicago, you get to elect 3 district councils. So understand the power that you give in the district councils to help bridge the communities and the police department. We have to make a change in our communities and within law enforcement.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, it's not only history in Chicago. From what I understand, isn't this the first time a woman has run for that seat?
Well, it's gonna be the first time for men and women, but I will say I'm the only woman running in the 8th district council.
Oh wow! All right, all right. So what do you see as some of the needs in your district?
Right now, I see a lot of healing. And I don't even just say it just in my district. I think it's overall. We need healing. We need trust. We need more respect. We need to be able to listen and communicate. Not just listen, act on what the person is telling you. Because the person is telling you their story. That means that's something that they want. That means that's something they want to get from you. So therefore, it's a lot of healing, youth programs, mental health, restorative justice. Just like when people get out of jail, they need to have some place to go. We need to put new policies in place for these people to have restorative justice for them. Not so they can go back and to repeat the same lifestyle that they had. We need to put provisions in place to make sure they have a positive outcome in our society.
So you mentioned healing. So what is Christopher said, very knowledgeable. Yes, she is. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So you mentioned what are some of the things that have happened in that district in the past that a lot of people from Chicago would know about? And when we talk about healing, because you brought up healing, and I think it's we need to talk about the major event that occurred not too long ago inside that district.
Are you speaking of the Mr. Laquan McDonald situation?
Yes, that's exactly who I'm talking about, Laquan McDonald.
Yes. So I don't know if a lot of people know about this, but Laquan McDonald was actually killed in the district that I'm running in, and he was shot 16 times. And for that alone, there needs to be a topic of a conversation. And I think oftentimes people feel like it should be pushed up on the rug because it already been resolved. The person who actually killed him, he served his time. But a lot of healing needs to be placed because guess what? A lot of people saw his death. What happened to the mental health facilities help people to see that's not a normal practice that we should be seeing in our community. We need to be able to talk about it, have some type of resolution about it. Don't just push things up under the rug. We need to have ongoing conversation so there could be healing. So guess what? This situation would never happen again. So we need to talk about it, not just push up on the rug. We need to talk about it more and bring other people involved. Don't just say, oh, this person, this happened to this person. No, it happened to all of us because it was a nationwide situation, and we all need to be held accountable for situations like this, so we can put our voices on this way and say, let's make a change, so this will never happen again.
Right, and so if you win your district, what would be some of your first moves to kind of bridge that gap with what's going on in the community?
The first thing I would do, I would like to have a seat with youth. I think the youth should have a seat at the table when it's coming down with policing in our community, because a lot of laws are in place now. It affects them. They should be at the table, discuss how the police police them, and tell them how they feel. Listen to them. Listen to what they're saying. Don't just always just push it back in the back of their mind like, oh, that's just a child. He doesn't know what he doesn't understand. These kids now are very equipped to understand a lot of things that we wasn't privy to back in our youth. So bring them to the table. Let them talk. Have them a say. Matter of fact, let them come up with ideas for policies and initiatives in our area as well.
Yeah, so I know you've got your ear to the community. So how do the youth feel about the police? Have you talked to any other youth just to get their opinion? What has been their opinion or the consensus about how they feel about police in the area?
Well, the first conversation I had with someone, they said lack of respect. They said the police don't respect them. They don't value them as a person. So therefore, that's another thing. We have to show more respect to these youth. I understand that some things happen, but we still should have to respect them. They are still, guess what? Human beings like the rest of us. Then they feel like there's not a lot of community involvement with the police. It always feels like it's always a negative engagement. Why can't they come around when we having block parties, or when they can come to the schools and talk to us, or just come out when they what you call canvas in the area? Get out the car and talk to them. Don't just canvas the area and see if they're doing something wrong. Get out, encourage them, like, hey, young man, I saw you yesterday. You did this. I saw you playing basketball. I saw you walking home from school. Give them some type of encouragement to see, like, hey, I see you, and you on the right path. Give them something to live for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really good. I think that's definitely needed. And I don't know how you feel about this, but one of the things that, like me, and this is just my opinion as a citizen, as a voting person, a voting citizen in Illinois, like I wish if I could just wave, a magic wand to make it happen, that police should live in the community that they service, because I think that's a big disconnect when you don't associate or connect with the people in that community. What do you think about that?
I think it's go both ways. I think they should police in all areas, because you come in contact with everyone. Just like if, say, like now, the 8th police district is staying in the 8th district. Well, what about when he goes into another community? He still needs to know what he's doing in another community as well. I think it should be an offset. Like some work several hours in this community, several months, and then several months work in a different community. You don't always just have to be in your community. You just be in about what's going on in different communities, because that's the way you will get to know, hey, they do this over here. Well, let's take this back over here and just implement this and see how this works. So just don't keep them stationed in one community. Let them go overall. I feel like you shouldn't keep them in one spot. You should make them work in all communities so they can learn what's going on in all communities.
See, that's why you're running for office, because that is a great idea. Just like on the job where you learn these different, like you'll work in this office, you work it that way, you'll have a general knowledge of what's going on. And then you can collaborate different efforts that are going on in a community if it will help to make your community better. So guess what? That's why you're running. That's excellent. So tell me, where are the 8th district borders? The north, south, east, and west of it all?
So it's west of Western, and I don't know if you're familiar with LaClaire Course. That's like 40 something in Cicero. So the 8th district is one of the biggest districts in the city of Chicago.
Wow. Okay. All right. So now if you are elected, what is going to be your first move? What are you going to do?
Ooh, that's a good question. I want to be able, as a woman, to make sure my voice is heard. I want to be able to convey what my community needs. Not just push it off because, a lot of things people push off because I'm a woman. Don't push me off as a woman. Push me off as a voice, as a positive voice, fighting for the community. And that's what I want to do first. I want to fight for our community.
All right. Sandra Brown said this young woman is a catalyst of change that Chicago needs. So when are the elections in Chicago?
So early elections start February 13th, and the election day is February 28th.
Election day is February 28th. So there's going to be a lot of history made in Chicago on that day, huh? Yeah. So let's also, SPTL said yes, Trees. Yes, Trees. So I mean, you're getting a lot of love in Chicago. So let's talk about the next thing I want to talk about is healing the community. And I'm going to say, with the situation that's going on now with Tyre Nichols, what is your thoughts on that?
So I will say I have not watched the video, but I
haven't either. I wouldn't watch that. Yeah.
You know what? People kept asking me about, you running for this role, you should watch the video. I just feel like why do I have to continue watching videos like that? You know, you already know what the problem is. So why continue it? My thing is, instead of keep watching the video, let's make a change. So what happened with Mr. Tyrese Nichols, and when I first addressed Mr. Laquan McDonald, I want people to understand that these are young men. Give them the respect that they deserve. Mr. Tyrese Nichols lost his life for what? We still don't know. You know, it's speculations, but we still don't know. And the fact that he lost his life, and the fact that why are we as a community, and I'm speaking on the police too, why we as a community keep perpetuating this bad cycle of bad police? I don't understand it. I wish I, like you say, do up a magic wand to just take it away. But I feel like the good police, everybody keeps talking about the bad police. Well, let's talk about the good police. I think the good police need to stand up as well. I don't think the good police need to sit back and just keep letting this happen. When you see things happening, stand up and say something. You know, don't just let this keep continuing to happen. No one should continue to keep losing their life to something like this.
All right, absolutely. So what we're gonna do now is, guess what? We're just about done with the top of the half hour. Didn't that go quick? But when we come back, we're gonna talk about creating a relationship, bridging the gap with the police. We're gonna, when we come back from our commercials, we're gonna talk about the police and your new position. All right?
Yes.
All right, stay tuned. All right, you guys, we're with Latina Brady Pettis, and we will be right back. we are back. Let's bring Tina back up. Tina,
Hi.
you're still here. That is wonderful. You guys, what I'd like for you to do at this time is like and share this program. We're talking to Latina Brady Pettis. Hey, she's running for the 8th District Council. She's trying to bridge the gap between the police and the community. She's trying to make change in the community. She's trying to be different than what you had before in this new position. And I believe in you, Tina. I know you can do it. So let's talk about you in your new position. Now the election is over and the winner is, yes, they've called your name out. Now, your relationship with the police, how does that work inside your new position?
So I would say this is the reason why I came up with Bridging the Gap. I'm a civilian, I'm working in the community, but I also have family members who are law enforcement. So therefore, that was me trying to say I can bridge the gap. I understand what the police are saying, I understand what the police are doing, I understand what the police are not doing. And I also know in the community what we want to see more of we want to see more from the police. So therefore, that was why I came up with the platform, Bridging the Gap with the police and the community.
Okay, it takes a certain amount of confidence, and I know you saw your dad and things like that, and I see that what your dad did in the civil rights movement and what he did in the community, that was a major thing, but it doesn't always translate to children. Now volunteering and doing that is one thing, but it takes a certain amount of confidence to be able to run for office. What was that moment that you decided I can do better and I want to run?
So I would say there were more than one moment, because when the role came about, it was just talk. Okay, the district council is coming up. This is what they're doing. It was just talk. So then, with one of my organizations, they was like, Tina, I think this would be a good role for you, because you're very adamant about change and you're very adamant about the community, and this will be a good role for you. So guess what? I said, nah, I don't want to do that. Let me see if I want to do, because a lot of people push things up on you and you're not ready. They see you doing something, but if you don't see it, you don't see the continue on, making the thought to say I was going to do it. So when it kept talking about that, what happened was, what really made me decide to do it was restorative justice. It wasn't so much about holding police accountable. It was like, what are we going to do with these people when they come home? What are we going to do with these youth programs with the mental health? It wasn't so much for me about holding police accountable. It was about the other variables that came along with the district council. So that's why I was like, that's me. I'm always trying to think of new ideas about what can we do in the community, mental health, youth programs, restorative justice. Yes, I would never sit here and say that police do not need to be held accountable, because they do need to be held accountable. Just like a civilian do something wrong in the community, be held accountable for our actions, police need to be held accountable for their actions as well. So when I saw all that coming together, I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. I think I could be the person that be able to negotiate certain things, talk about certain things, policies, initiatives. I went to school for that. That was some of the things I went to school for. So therefore, I'm like, you know what? This would be a good way of me coming together and bringing the community and the police together as well.
Wow. Now, I want to talk about another community that's healing, because that's still healing to this day. George Floyd. Tell me what's on your mind when I say that name as well.
You know what? I didn't watch that video as well. I take it back. I watched the clip of it, and the clip is when I heard him calling out his mother's name. That's another reason why I decided to run for this office, because no matter what's going on, we call our mothers. I don't care whatever's going on in life, we always see as our mother as a savior. So guess what? I'm a mother. So I felt like, you know what? let me be a savior. Let me try to help do something for people so they won't have to go through this anymore. Like I said, I never watched the video. I think Mr. Laquan McDonald's video was the last video I watched when it came down to police brutality. And I was like, you know what, that's enough. I didn't want to watch anything else. And I called Mr. George Floyd video when I was at a restaurant, and they, you know how they show the clips, and they show when he was begging for his mom, and I'm like, wow, that's just, you know. So therefore I was like, I think that a mother should be at the table to teach people how to police their children. So that was another reason why I got running for the district council.
Okay. Now, how many people are on the council?
Each police district is 22 districts, and each police district you get to elect 3.
Now, now, where are all the districts? Are they just sparsed out throughout Chicago, or
just in the city? Yes, in the city of Chicago. Yes.
So, and it's only within the city limits.
Correct.
Okay. So in your new position, can you, because, you know, somebody might be looking at this and be like, you know what, Chicago politics, and everybody knows Chicago politics is a big machine. Or I'm sorry, let me not say that, because some people might not view it as such, but Chicago politics can be a big machine. And sometimes people would say, well, they're coming in there, but they're not going to do anything. You know, they don't believe that people have the power to change the politics of, you know, creating better communities, creating better relationships with the police. So your district can bring about change in that position that you hold.
I think that when you say negative things in the atmosphere, you get back negative things. If we get to the point that we speak in positive, maybe positive things will change. With the 8th police district, absolutely healing in the 8th district. I'm not gonna never sit here and tell you that we don't need healing in our area, but we also need more diverse police officers in our area too. You only spoke about police officers being in a certain area, but we need more diversity in the 8th district as well. Because guess what? You have diversity, that means different levels of life, different people understand different people in our community. So therefore they'll be able to understand and police and respect them more, because they understand what they're going through. You know, a lot of times people always talk, like I mentioned before, a lot of people always talk about the bad police, but there are good police officers too. You know, they come in different areas in these different communities as well. You know, have them come up and say, hey, you know, this was done wrong, let's continue to do this. But it comes down with strength in numbers. I understand there have been a lot of politics in Chicago, but guess what? Politics only stay here because no one wants to change. And if we keep on saying nothing's going to change, well, guess what? Nothing's going to change. We need to be the voice. We need to be beacon of hope to say, hey, this can no longer happen anymore. Let's make something permanent in here, that we're going to make something permanent, a permanent lifestyle, that people be respectful in their neighborhood. Police be respectful to the people in their neighborhood, and come together. Come to the table and let's talk. Don't be so quick to say nothing's going to change, and nothing's going to change, and while we're doing it. What's the purpose of having this role if we always feel nothing's going to change? We need to stop saying that. We need to stop speaking negative and speak life. That it is going to change. You know, politics in Chicago is not going to continue to be the same, because what's what? I'm not the politic person. I'm a public servant. And I feel like when I'm in the community, I talk about people. I talk about not just talking about the police, I talk about people. People want things to be different in their community.
Wow. Look, I hear all that passion. You ready? She ready? you are definitely ready. So let's say right now you've got some 12-year-old girl looking, or 12-year-old, you know, kid, guy looking at you right now. And they want to get into public. Whitress Richardson says Tina is the truth. Yes. Tina is the truth. That should be your campaign slogan. Speaking of campaign slogans, before I ask my question, what's your campaign slogan?
Tina 8 for 8.
Tina 8 for 8.
And the reason why it's 8 for 8, because it's 8 wards in the 8th district, so it's 8 for 8.
8 wards in the 8th district. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So what would you say about young kids, because you have to train them up young. What would you say to a young person trying to get into public service? Why is it so important? Why do you think we should continue on with being a part of public service?
First, I would have to ask them what they feel in their heart. Public service don't just start with just a person. You have to have it in your heart. If that's not in that person's heart, then guess what? They're not going to be able to fulfill this role. You have to have compassion to want to help people. There's nothing more, nothing less is getting around that. You have to have the ability to want to help people. And guess what? Your helping doesn't start 9 to 5. It's 24 hours a day. People need help 24 hours a day. Are you ready to make sure that you're going to have something ready for someone 24 hours a day? Not saying that you got to be up their wake up call, whatever, but guess what? You never know when you might get that call at 2 o'clock in the morning. Are you going to sit there and say, no, I don't want to be bothered with that? That's a passion you have to have in your heart every single day. And the reason why I say that, because I mentioned about my dad. You can call my daddy anytime. You used to call my dad. My dad is deceased. He's been dead for 2 years now. So you could call him at any time of the day. I promise you, and my mom can tell you this man will get out of his bed and help whoever he needs to help. It has to be in your heart to do it. So that was my thing I would tell a young person. If you're pursuing this goal, you got to have it in your heart. You got to have the passion to want to help them.
Okay, that's good. So where would you say, where would they be able to start? I have the passion, but because like one of the reasons why we started this show is to show people that every day, this is for everyday living. Tina, you were a teenage mom. You got into volunteerism. Now you're running for office. Where does it start? Would you say they should start off as volunteers, or what advice would you give them?
Absolutely. They should start as volunteers. I think it should be, again, you got to put them in place to want to be able to want to do it. They have to start with volunteers. They have to have role. They have to look up to somebody and say, hey, you know what? That person made a change. And you know what? Let me sit back and think about it. This is something I really want to do. But it does not start as a 12-year-old. It starts young. I saw this when I was young. It does not, because at the time, like at 12 or 13, most of the time they already have their mindset. Oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. But if you catch them young and start out, I see people going out not policing the canvas in the area. They have their young kids. Guess what? These young kids become politicians because guess what? They saw it growing up. So you got 12 years old, I think that's too old. You got to start out younger than that.
Wow. So starting off as young as possible. I mean, it's the same thing. We talk a lot about entrepreneurship on this show. And, bring your kids, let your kids see what you're doing. So, yeah, just like you said, because, I mean, it's so hard. Like when you think about Chicago and you think about all of the need all over the Chicagoland area for healing, just for canvassing the area. I mean, there's definitely a need.
And I want to say this, when people talk about healing, you got to want to heal. You got to want to release that anger out. You got to be able to say, enough is enough. I mean, sometimes I bottle up a lot of things inside of me. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but guess what? I know it comes a time I have to release that. We all are humans, and guess what? Ongoing conversations, talk about it. Don't just hide behind it. Talk about it. Let somebody know how you feel. It's a way to communicate how you feel with one another. That's a part of the healing process. Don't hide behind it, because once you hide behind it, no one knows how you feel and no one knows how to be able to do anything. So guess what? We keep perpetuating the cycle. We want to end this reckless cycle and heal and move forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So are you going in different areas within your district? You have some events coming up. Okay. You want to talk about those?
So tomorrow I should be at, no, I'll take that back. February 3rd, I'm going to be at Kennedy King. I'm doing a candidate forum there. So that's the one that I know that's coming up this week. But so right now, it's usually like when they call you and ask you to come. So right now, that's the one that's coming up now. It's February 3rd. I'm doing a candidate forum. Mm-hmm. So right now, I'm just in canvassing the area with different aldermen in my ward. I've been canvassing with them, talking about them, and they actually introduced me to their constituents as well.
Mm-hmm. So what is your pulse of the community? Like you said, one of the things you said is you have to want to heal. Do you feel as though you're talking to a community that wants to heal?
Absolutely. You know, anytime I have talked to someone, the first thing they always talk about, they want to have a relationship with the police. They want to have community involvement. But guess what? It's not just police. They want to feel safe in their homes as well. So they want to have this. They want to have engagements. They want to have more block clubs. Guess what? A lot of block clubs don't even happen anymore. You know, people are scared to come out of their homes now. There needs to be some type of restoration into these communities that they can feel safe just walking outside of their home. You know, you pay for this home, you live your life. Why can I reap the benefits of my labor if I'm not even feeling safe in my community? So we have to make sure these people are safe in their community and making sure that the police are canvassing the area and being respectful to one another, and the community being respectful to one another as well.
So what do you think would solve the problem or the challenge of people not feeling safe to go out? Because I remember block club parties. They were like the hit. We were outside. We were everywhere. But what do you think? What's the remedy for that? For people being afraid to go outside?
I think there should be more community involved, parents being more involved in their children's lives. Like I said, just a more ongoing conversation. It's never a one-sided thing. It has to be ongoing. You know, it can't be just stop here and leave this alone. We need to have more youth programs in our area. You know, I can't speak about other areas, but I can speak about this area. We need to have more youth programs. Chamber of Commerce, I said this before, restorative justice. Make these businesses patronize the people in their community. We patronize them. How about they patronize us as well? Patronize these youth when they need football, uniforms and things of that nature. Give them something to want to live for and be more active in their community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is excellent. So we are about to wrap up the conversation. Can you believe it? But there's always this one question I ask people, but I want to ask you two. Where do you see yourself as you envision yourself? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Ooh, that's a good question. You know what? I can truthfully say that I want to be right where I am now, helping the people. I don't want to, that's my passion, and that's how I always want to be. I always want to be helping the people. No matter what's going on, I want to help people. When you spoke about financial support, my husband and I, we started our own scholarship fund. So that's me giving back financial support. I wanted to make sure people understood what that was. That's me and my husband decided that we wanted to give back to young men first time going to college. That's something that we started on our own. So it's not just me just working in the community, just doing something. We actually giving it back on our own, you know. So I wanted to continue doing this for the next 100 years. I want to continue to help people, continue my legacy. If anybody know anything about me, even with the organizations I'm in, especially when I'm in the president, they always say, you always finding us something to do. I said, because it's always something to do. To work in the community. It's always something to do. It's never not enough. It's always something to do to better ourselves in the community.
That is beautiful, beautiful. And then the last question is, what message would you want to leave the audience if they never saw you again?
I remember when I said that I was a teenage mom. If I stopped at a teenage mom, you will see right here now running for this office. Never ever give up. Never quit. If people put those sticks and stones at you, everybody, what's that famous word? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me. That's a true statement. Build them stones up, build them up, and build their foundation, and then let them look at their foundation that they thought that was making you lose, but also you was a winner. So never give up and never quit. It's always something better the next day. You know, it might take time, but guess what? Better is coming. Never give up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now the election is it February 13th and February 28th? What was that? I know we had two dates going on, February 13th and February 28th.
So early voting starts February 13th. Election day is February 28th.
Okay. All right. Hey, Whitress Richardson said Latina Brady Pettis has my vote. So, hey, you already got a head start. You already got a head start, Tina. So, early voting is February 13th. And let's talk about the importance, or what is your value on voting? We'll end with that.
Never ever feel that your voice doesn't matter. All our voices matter. I don't care if it's from young, middle age, adulthood, your voice matter. Because a lot of laws that being in place is being in place when you started with a voice. Your voice matter. Never not let anyone ever tell you your voice doesn't matter. Because if your voice didn't matter, guess what? I won't be running for the 8th District Council. There was a voice that started this role. So your voice matters.
All right. So we are wishing you all the best on this election in February. And if you're early voting, you're in the 8th district, Latina Brady Pettis. And we hope that once you win the election, that you will come back maybe a year from now to tell us how that community is doing. Okay.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your platform with me. I really, really appreciate it.
We appreciate having you. And once again, we wish you all the best. And I'll talk to you later, Tina.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. Have a good one. I like that. That was refreshing. Sandra Ellis says, I'm 51 and I can't wait to experience another block party due to the work of this woman. Yes, Tina. Hey, they are pushing for you here. They are canvassing for you here right on our show. Tina, I hope you haven't left, and I hope you're hearing the words that I'm saying. I want that block party too. I want to be able to go back. I'm not in the 8th district, but hey, I'll come out to the 8th district for a block party. Free hot dogs, free t-shirts. I remember all of that. Good times, you guys. Once again, that was Latina Brady Pettis, you guys, talking about healing the community, talking about public service, talking about her experience as a teenage mom. Look, and she's here on this platform, and she's running for the 8th District Council. Hey, this is a platform for champions, and I'm telling you, all the best to you, Tina. So as I close out, I just want you to think about this. We talked about healing in the community, right, tonight. And one of the things I think even Tina brought up was just mental health. But, I just don't want you to forget is that true healing begins with you. Don't forget that. So I want you to ask yourself, where do I need healing? It could be physically, it could be mentally, it could be emotionally, it could be holistically, financially, or even spiritually. I need you to put your ego aside. And if you need help to heal, go get it. Go get the help that you need. They say the first step to healing is recognizing that there is a wound. We see so many people with their smiling, beautiful faces every day. But yet sometimes if you dig beyond the smile, you would find that they're broken, they're damaged, and they so desperately need help. But I'm not asking you to fix anyone. Just start with yourself on that. But what I'm simply saying is extend a little grace to everyone that you encounter in this upcoming week, because we all need it. We talked about Laquan McDonald tonight. We talked about Tyree Nichols. We talked hit it a little bit on George Floyd. These communities are hurting. The police, the communities, we all need to bridge the gap. And that's why I'm glad that Tina came on to show us exactly, how we could do that. So basically, extend a little grace to anyone, because guess what? It may be them this week, but next week it could be you. So I just want you to think about that. And as always, we thank God for his favor, his grace, and blessings that we receive every day. And as believers, we know that Christ died, he was buried, and rose again on the third day for our justification. And I also encourage you to just grow deeper in your faith and your confidence in God, and continue to, as you continue to evolve as a person, it's so important now more than ever that we stand firm in the word of God. And on behalf of myself and my hardworking husband, Andre Hill, thanks for watching, and we will see you on February 12th. Bye-bye.